Hey, everybody. It is the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro and your host here on Contractor Radio, Jim Johnson. And I'm super excited for today's guest. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk something that I think is one of the most passionate things that contractors have facing them that becomes an obstacle or a challenge. We're going to talk some recruiting and how to get more guys, better talented guys and gals working for our businesses and creating something that is a very attractive opportunity at your business. And we're going to bring in the pro. Like, I've been following this guy for quite a long time. Anytime I hear like recruiting, this is one of those guys, bam, 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 this guy. So we'll introduce him here in a second. But I don't want you to forget, we do have a couple of things coming up here that we do at Contractor Coach Pro. One of those things is Top Rep. It is our high performance sales training. If you have not checked out, go to topreptraining.com. You want to have a team full of professional top-end salespeople. Get them to Top Rep here in New Braunfels, Texas, right between Austin and San Antonio on August 21st and 22nd. You show up a day early. Maybe you can go tubing with us down the river. We hope to see you there. That is topreptraining.com. We also have a new program coming out for contractors that are smaller, just getting started. You're under $1 million, probably more like 500,000, 250,000. We've got contractor launch coming out, and I'll tell you more moving forward into the future. But this is going to be some group coaching focused on 5 pillars. Business acumen, just all the stuff you need to know for business, your financial acumen, your marketing and lead generation on a budget, how to close deals and sell deals at a high profit, and then finally, how to optimize your networking and referrals so that you can grow your business into that 7-figure business that you need and you know you can do, and then take it beyond that. So without further ado, thanks for hanging out with us there for that first few seconds and selfless, shameful promos there. I am pumped. I've been wanting to get this guy on for a long time, and I want to introduce to you the president, owner, founder of Pivotal Recruiting Solutions, the recruiting guru, the master of magnetic, bringing people to an opportunity. We got our man here, Matt Snow. Matt, welcome aboard, man.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. I have people call me all the time to be on the show, right? And the number 1 and 2 people that call me are marketing companies is number 1, and CRM companies is number 2. And I get tired of like doing that, to be honest with you. And I'm always looking for somebody that is in this recruiting thing, especially niche, like in our industry. I've had a couple on in the past, but you're the king of the king of the hill. It's good to have you on, man.
Thank you. I'm definitely honored to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you, like, for those of us in the audience, first question is, do you only recruit for roofing companies, or do you recruit for other contractors as well?
90% of what we do is in the roofing industry, just because that's where I came from and that's what we knew coming in.
Okay.
But after a couple years, people hearing about us and how effective we were at bringing in some of the hardest recruits, door knockers, they asked us, hey, can you try this? Can you try this? And for me, any recruiting in any industry is pretty much the same. Be transparent, show your compensation, have some good company culture, and the process is the same. So we started taking on CDL drivers, specialty woodworkers. I've done mobile phlebotomists, which is somebody that sets up a tent and they take lab stuff from you for I believe it's My Direct Labs. So I've definitely recruited some unicorns for sure.
That's pretty cool. That's I didn't know that. So this is going to be for all of you that are listening in here. You want to learn some things about recruiting. So Matt, tell us a little bit of the history, how long you've been in this industry, and then kind of what got you into the recruiting thing and where you're at today.
I've got in about 13 years ago with Peter Pesci from American Restoration Group. Shout out to my buddy Pete. I saw an ad said you can make over $100,000 a year selling roofs. And like most people that are not aware of the financial incentives in the industry. I just like, yeah, this has got to be bull. This is not real. But I'm one of those guys that needs to touch fire to know that it's hot. So I went in for the interview and just started asking questions. What's the metrics in this industry? How are you guys making so much? And once he explained to me, this was insurance approved construction, I started to connect the dots and became more and more interested in the opportunity. And, near the end of the interview, he asked me, he's like, well, how much do you know about roofs? And I told him, well, I know they go on top of your house. So I came into the industry literally at ground zero. I'm not even sure I knew what a soffit was at that point, but I had great training, great mentorship, and I'm the type of guy, I don't really need to be pushed to do sales. I like talking to people. I like getting out there. As long as I've got a great product and something I believe in, for me, it's something I enjoy. So I did my first year. I knocked out 80,000 in take home. And from then, it was just no looking back. I kept going up each year. 4 or 5 years later, they asked me to become a recruiter and ask if I could bring some people in and train them on, my processes in the field. And it was pretty lucrative. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a shot. It turns out I was great at it. Connected with people because my story was transparent. It was honest. It was real life. Here's a middle-aged guy going into an industry with zero knowledge of the industry and succeeding just merely because I was a sponge. I wanted to learn. I was humble, I was hungry, and it worked. So it started kind of lighting a fire in me. I became passionate. I'm like, and I'm pretty good at this recruiting thing. So I continued to sell roofs and recruit. And I sold a roof across the street from a national general contractor after the storm. And I'm sure they were kind of peeved, but it wasn't my fault they didn't read the storm report. I knocked the door, I got the contract. So that kind of started up a conversation with us. And eventually they courted me up to their office in Rockford. And I had an interview there, and they hired me on to be their national recruiter. So whenever they would storm in Nebraska, Colorado, wherever the storms would be, I would fly in, write the ads, meet with the people, do the interviews, turn them over to be trained, and then fly back home. And after about a year of that, at the end of my contract, I decided that I wanted to spend more family time, more time at least near my family than I was there.
Right.
The money was great, but family is extremely important to me. So I made the decision not to renew my contract and asked my wife one night while she was making dinner after a glass of wine or so if she'd like to leave her cushy corporate job and start a recruiting company for the roofing industry, which even when I say it out loud to this day sounds just crazy. It's like, what? I got a 401k, dude. I got PTO. I'm not leaving nothing. Luckily, she thought about it for probably 30 seconds, and she looked at me like I was crazy. I couldn't imagine what was going through her mind, and she said, yeah, let's do it. So we did it. She ended up quitting her job, and we formed this company. And I think the first year, about 150,000, just me and her. Next year, hired some recruiters, 300,000. Next year, 600,000. So we've continued to almost double each year.
That's pretty awesome,
man. It's definitely been a blessing. And I wasn't a seasoned businessman by any means when I started this, but I've been around business my whole life. Read Entrepreneur, Fast Company, Forbes magazine. I've always wanted to have the kind of money where I could supply everything I want for everybody in my family with no worries. And I decided this was going to be my time because I had figured out that the majority of people that I was working for were not as smart as I was. So I said, well, why do I keep working for people that are dumber than me? Like, I can do this too. And once the initial jump was there, it's been nonstop. But my motivation and our motto for running the business, because there's so many ways and points to run a business on. You're going to be ethical if you're just bottom line centered. You're only worried about profit, company culture, things like that. And we decided on a quote from Warren Buffett: just delight the customers and you'll never have to worry about money. So that's what we did. We provided results. We worked hard, and the people talked about it. And to this day, it's probably an anomaly for business. I've never made one single phone call to sell my service to anybody. Everything has come through referrals. people like Chuck Toki and you and other guys that recognize how much we care about what we do, and that we're actually knowledgeable about what we're doing. It's been a great blessing for sure.
Yeah, that's first off, a lot of that story sounds similar. Like I got, you can tell I got hired before you, and they were less transparent. It was $75,000 to be a home inspector. That was the ad I answered, and so I was like, "Oh, home inspector, that sounds pretty cool." And oh no, we're selling roofing. But like you, I put the dots together, sold pretty good. Got, hey, do you want to teach other people to do this? So as we have a lot in common on that.
That's awesome.
So you've been doing the recruiting thing for the last 7 years.
Yes.
Is it different today than it was 7 years ago? Just with all the things that have gone on, technology, COVID, that all the excuses, reasons, has it changed a whole lot? AI and all the other things that are out there?
Yeah, it's changing constantly. I would say, when I knew I was coming on the podcast, I didn't want to just come on and talk a little bit and display my knowledge. I want to bring some actual fire to the listeners to help them save thousands of dollars on recruiting. Thousands, literally.
I like the sound of that.
So the very first thing you want to do in recruiting is decide where you're going to post, whether it's applicant tracking systems, job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Jora, Bamboo HR, whatever you're going to pick. I pick Indeed. I spend $250,000 or more on job boards each year. I've done several searches on SimilarWeb, basically, which is a website that will compare anything: Ford versus Chevy, Traeger versus RecTech, ZipRecruiter versus Indeed, and also put my own money in it.
I'd love to know what they said about Traeger versus RecTech.
RecTech's a winner all day. RecTech all day.
I had to smoke.
I got a BFG on my porch. Big one. 30 chickens at once. That's great.
Wow, that's intense.
So I
go
choose.
ahead. I'm sorry to distract you there. We were talking smoking before,
barbecue,
and we mean barbecue before we hopped on. So I had to.
My customers ask me, what all do you do? I said, well, I only do 3 things: I barbecue, I recruit, and I harass my children. That's it. So,
that sounds about right.
I'm very serious about all 3 of those things.
All right, so I messed you up there. So you were going to bring some fire.
Yes. The very first thing you want to do is decide where you want to put your money at, to advertise. Hands down, anybody ask me, Indeed. ZipRecruiter, you'll find that you'll get a lot of candidates that have just hit a push notification. It's very push notification centered. So anytime your resume says sales and somebody's job posting says sales, it'll get sent to them. They'll be kicking it with their buddies. They're doing what they do. See, oh, there's a new job. So-and-so's got up. They'll push the button, bam. They won't read the door knocking. They won't read the climbing on the roof. They won't. So basically, you're paying your recruiters and wasting your clients' money on talking to people that really haven't even read your job posting.
Mm.
So it's good. It's good for the database. Is about the only thing that I found fruitful at ZipRecruiter. It's not for the kind of recruiting that we do. Indeed, you've got the average person spends 9 minutes on Indeed when they go on there. They spend 3 minutes on ZipRecruiter. And I'm only using ZipRecruiter not to pick on them, but just that's the most comparable thing in recruiting right now.
Right.
Price wise, but I would choose Indeed. So after choosing whatever you're going to post on, the next important thing is the job title that you're using, because you need to understand that Indeed works off an algorithm and is very similar to Google search. So just because you think restoration consultant is a sexier title than outside sales rep for a roofing sales rep,
they don't know what that is.
Does not necessarily mean that anyone in their right mind is going to sit down and type in the job restoration consultant. So you can have the best possible ad. If you don't have the right title, your funnel will not allow people to see it based on what you've worded. So we use words like paid training. That's one funnel. Entry level. That's another one. Sales. That's another one. So now I've established 3 funnels for one ad, and the ads that I run have a constant stream of candidates. They don't trickle in, they're constant. So this is after 7 years of learning this and having account managers and hollering at people and spending money. These are the next steps. Indeed, good job title. The ad is super important. Traditionally, to sum it up without boring everybody to death, you take a regular ad like anybody would have now and flip it upside down. That's how an ad should be written. You don't open with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sentences about the company because you're going to lose the reader. At that point, they're what's called a scanner. So they're looking for something. So you open with 1 or 2 small sentences. Contractor Coach Pro is hiring now due to explosive growth. Boom, cut it off. Now it's bullet points. We offer work-life balance, upward mobility, PTO, 401k, whatever you may offer. There's a whole list right on the ad of everything that you offer. You're like, man, look at all the stuff these guys got.
So
It's
everything
great.
about all the stuff they want.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That's the hook. Once the hook's in there, that's when you bring the other stuff. There's responsibilities, requirements, and rewards. And all those things need to be transparent in the ad, not commensurate with experience and based on all that. You know what that means to a candidate? It means you're going to try to lowball me.
Yeah.
Nobody's stupid. Nobody's stupid. We'll just see. I've got a meme that says, what's the job pay? So, it starts at 40, but it goes up to 80. And the guy's like, yeah, call me when it hits 80.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. I really hate interrupting, but I've got some important information for you. If you haven't tried out Atlas Shingles, you should, because they put you first as a contractor. They want to give you a competitive advantage out in the field so that you can win more sales and be more profitable. Check out Atlas in your local area, find your local rep, get hooked up with them today, and start making more money tomorrow.
So
Continue on.
The key fire is to have the ad written to where all the offering stuff is on top, nice and neat in bullet points. So now the reader's engaged. After that, what you'll be doing, meeting with homeowners, helping them through the insurance process, keeping it stress-free. And then your requirements, whether it may be college educated, bilingual, ability to climb on roofs. And it's a perfect ad at that point. And I guarantee you, if you switch your ad around to that format today, within 3 days, you'll probably have 40% more candidates. Because I did the same thing.
Wow, that is some fire you're bringing today, because we see that a lot in our coaching. Like we're working with people and we're working on their hiring strategy. Like that's what we do. We help them develop a strategy, and then we send them to guys like you and say, this guy can find people to fit this strategy. And their job postings always are like that. And mine are very much like, hey, this is all the cool stuff that you're going to want first. I think that's super important. I also want to get a little bit of my culture. Do you find any of that, like including some of the company culture in there? Like,
yeah, every single company that we deal with, we don't have a blanket one-on-one ad. I mean, I've got a format for a sales manager or for an office manager or for whoever that we're recruiting, a basic format of duties, but we try to really represent the company culture of the company, because I found that that's what attracts the right candidate. If the ad is talking about culture, whether it be highly competitive or family type focused, integrity, core value type things, those are the people that it draws. And I find also that it also repels people that are really not into that kind of thing.
I don't want people to skip over that. Like that was a huge point by including the culture. And you actually did a good job of hey, is it super competitive or family? Well, one guy might like the family thing and go, hey, I want to be in that. And the competitive stuff sounds terrible to him. And then the other way around, the competitive guy goes, that family stuff sounds terrible. I'm going to be on top.
Exactly. 100%.
And so it draws a certain type of person. So you start to eliminate and pre-qualify people if you include your culture. Is that what you're saying?
It's a way of automating the process without automating the process.
Right.
I'm recruiting, and I tell everybody, be as honest and transparent as you want. Don't recruit somebody and try to turn them into something else. Well, I'm going to recruit an office manager, but I also want them to help out in the office when they're not doing office stuff. What?
Yeah.
It's an office manager. An office manager manages an office. That's what they do. Let the people do what they're good at. Yeah, you want a good attitude, hey, I'll help out if needed or something like that. But when you start trying to hybrid positions, you end up very frustrated and the hire never lasts long. So I'm a big fan of transparency through the entire process, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's gotten a job and had a list of duties that all of a sudden increased exponentially by my third month there. Like, hey, we got this other project we're doing, and I'm like, well, which one of these other projects do you want me to put on the back burner so I can do this new one that you got?
Well, what's the pay for that one? Like
Yeah, well,
that's a different job. What's the pay for that one?
this was not included. So I'm just really a fan of being open and honest and expressing your apprehensions, whether you're the interviewer, the interviewee, hey, I feel like maybe you might not be so good at this part or, whatever, and express that in the interview. Because a lot of people call me with, hey, man, what do I say in the interview? What questions do I ask? What's trending? This and that. And I think that the interview needs to be somewhat structured as far as the initial part. What time do they show up? What was their body language? Were they playing on their phone? Did they have robotic answers already set up in their head? Which is going to be impossible for me because I really shoot from the hip. So if you think you're ready, you're probably not going to be ready at all.
Now, do you guys do that part of it too? Like the initial interview qualifying?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do the initial screening interview as far as being physically capable to climb and inspect a roof, comfortability with knocking doors for a living. So when they go in to meet with an owner, there's not going to be a shock like, oh, I got to knock doors. I'm not into this. So
Right.
It's a major time saver for the contractor because it's one of the most difficult questions to overcome. And if you just call someone and like, hey, are you interested in this job knocking doors? You're going to get 9 out of 10 no's.
I always like this one whenever I was explaining that to somebody. I said, hey, if I told you there was 10 doors right there, like they were right in front of us, and you knocked every one of them, and 2 of them each gave you $1,000, how many of those doors would you knock? Would you knock
all day, right?
Yeah. And it's just a mentality thing. And then also if I don't knock that door, who do I leave them to? Right. Like the wolves out there. It could be a bunch of nefarious people. I don't want to do that to my community. So there's a lot of different ways to get your mindset right about it. Because while a lot of people, I think, look at door knocking with their they look down on it like it's something bad or like you're less than or whatever. There's this weird perception of what a door knocker is. I think that we actually provide a service that's important, and I'm trying to keep them away from the ones that are not doing it the right way, that are there just for the money or there to pull the wool over your eyes, or even worse, steal money from you. There's all kinds of things that go on out there.
Right.
If we can get out there and inform the homeowner, educate the homeowner, and do things right, we're actually doing the wrong thing. It seems bad to me. Hey, why would I not go knock the door?
100%. I mean, there definitely is that connotation with it, and we're doing what we can to try and reverse that, and just bring some nobility back to it. I mean, when it's all said and done, I walked into an industry that I knew nothing about and made 80 grand in a year. There had to have been something good there. And I had a good company that used great products, great craftsmanship. The builds went down on time to make sure that I got referrals. I mean, it was a great job.
Earlier, too, that was a little bit shocking to me because I don't know if I've ever heard this. They provided good training and they were good people.
Right.
I had never heard that before.
That's what makes my job. That's what makes my job easy because we align ourselves with people that had that kind of training, people that use Chuck, people that use you.
Right.
People that are trying to level their business up and do things, at the top of the heap. It makes it easier for me to recruit.
I have a question about that. Do you interview the contractors that come to you to learn more about their culture? So the person that you're talking to out there, you can go, hey, good fit, right?
Absolutely.
Because this is one of the things, and I don't mention names or anything, but this something I've noticed about recruiters in this industry, they can recruit people. It's not hard. You and I talked about this before the show. Recruiting is simply marketing and sales. I run the ads that get a response. I get the response. My job is to sell them on the idea of coming in and hiring. So that's the sale. That's the close. The problem with most recruiters that I see is that they don't care about the culture. It's like, do you want the job? Can you make it? Okay, good. I'm going to put you with this guy. And they just put them and it's instant, like a car wreck. This guy's uber competitive and he puts them in a family culture.
Exactly.
And it's just a car wreck right away, especially when you get into a leadership position, like a sales manager or something like that. You're one way over here, hey, hugging each other, kumbaya and stuff like that. And this guy comes walking, he's like, all right, let's go. We're going to get it and we're going to bust tail today. Like everybody's going, what the heck is that? Right. So do you do that with your clients? Like do some kind of interview process to make sure that you get, hey, okay, if I get this kind of guy, I got to go there.
But we have what's called a scoping call. So initially clients will reach out to me through the website or Facebook Messenger. I get a lot from the roofing industry through Messenger. And I'll do an initial call and find out what they're looking for. What market are they in? How many people do they need? Is it a backfill position? That kind of thing. And then I go to start looking for data in their market, because if not, I'm just doing what's called a post and pray, which is basically post the ad and pray the right people get in there.
I don't remember that. I'm stealing that from you. That's a good one.
I do not do that. I go in and look in the market. I look for currently updated resumes that will match the profile of the client that I'm talking with. And at that point, once I find the data and it looks like that we've got a really good chance of filling the position, then we have what's called a scoping call, where we talk about how many years they've been in business, look at their Glassdoor reviews, just things like that. What's their core values, company culture? Is the building tucked behind a Taco Bell so the candidates can find it easy? Is there a passcode to the door? We literally cover everything that's ever happened in a recruiting campaign on that scoping call, so that once we launch this ad, we can spend 100% of our energy doing nothing but recruiting. And I've definitely, through the scoping call, there's clients that I found out we're not going to be a good fit through the scoping call. So at that point, I just advise them on what I would do to fulfill the hiring needs, but I'm not the one that's going to be able to do it for you.
You sound like us. We don't work with everybody. You're either you either understand the hard work that it's going to take to build this dream business that you want, that's a well-oiled machine and runs like clockwork and just spits out money for you, or you think there's some kind of silver bullet to it. If you think there's a silver bullet to it, we're going to pull some kind of magic trick. Probably not the right people to be working with.
I'll tell you the silver bullet. The silver bullet is message your candidates on Friday, message them on Saturday, message them on Sunday. So Monday morning, when you open your email, you've got a full email full of interested parties. If not,
that's because that's when they have time to actually respond, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to set myself up to be cold calling people on a Monday saying, hey, this is so-and-so from Colorado Roofing. Or are you still interested in this job? I'm testing people over the weekend to see if they do have a real interest level. If so, I let them know. I'll be reaching out Monday and Tuesday to discuss your qualifications and have a conversation. And if that warrants an interview, then we'll go ahead and schedule the interview at that time. So people hear the words interview and they're like, okay, this guy's serious. And that's probably
that's a good little gold nugget right there. That
I'm telling you, it could take you 20 minutes of work on Saturday. Sit down, go through the candidates, make sure there's nobody you need to reject. Because I don't like inviting to people that I know I eventually won't hire. So I take the time and scan through the resume, make sure they have a driver's license and the basics that we're going to need, sales or customer service in their background. Then I message them Saturday, 20 minutes, Sunday, same thing. That saves me probably 6 hours. Because if I have a recruiter, and I've had them before, to try to start cold on a Monday versus one that's been messaging all weekend, I'll have 3 times the appointment set with the person that set themselves up for success. And it's so easy, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's smart. That's
really smart. Which that will take me back to the fire part. So we have the Indeed, we've got the job title, the body of the ad, what that should look like, and now you've got some when you should communicate. As soon as they get in there, within 72 hours, a person's probably going to have 5 or 6 interviews set. In my company, I'm trying to get you in there with one option. You want to go work for Jim? Okay, here's an interview Tuesday. You're in there. So when you present your option to them, they don't have 4 or 5 other deals or interviews set that they got to think about. I like Jim. I like this company. I want to work here. I'm qualified. Let's go. That's it. So I try as hard as I can to set it up for success by thinking of everything else around me besides, things I can't control.
Right.
Write a good ad, put it in a good spot, have a good recruiter that's not monotone and talking like the dry eyes guy. Be excited. Work with exciting companies, and that's pretty much easy. That's my philosophy. But the real fire that I'll save you is if you're using Indeed will have a recommended budget. There's 2 ways to sponsor an ad. Well, actually 3. One is free organic traffic. I don't recommend that unless it's a position that doesn't have any urgency to fill. They'll give you a little bit of traffic to let you see that it works, and then you'll end up paying for traffic anyway. So just pay for the traffic.
You mean they're in it to make money? That seems
Yeah, it's so weird how they do it. Just reel you in. But you start, well, you can either do it by the resume, which is a good one for a person that has the time to monitor the resumes. The resume looks good to you. You want to pursue the candidate, then you go ahead and do that, and they charge you for the resume. If not, you reject the resume. There's no charge. The caveat with that one is you need to have somebody, on post at all times. Otherwise, you get 10 or 15 resumes in there that are 15, 20 bucks a piece. Next thing you know, you're looking at a pretty big bill.
pretty big bill and pretty time consuming, it sounds like.
Absolutely. But the biggest secret that I'll give away is Indeed will have a recommended budget. Let's say, for instance, Colorado. Colorado is about $57 a day to advertise there. Here's the thing. The 2 days of the week that you need to advertise higher than everybody are Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday. Yes.
Monday and Tuesday are the days that people look for jobs and apply for jobs.
That's changed, by the way. That's not the way it used to be. It used to be Sunday and Monday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I start cranking mine up on Sunday because I know there's guys like me that like to prepare for the week and like to prepare for Monday and get their goals set up. So I catch quite a bit on Sunday. But Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, those are the days that you should be spending your money on Indeed. The rest of those days, I don't care what they recommend. Just dial it down and let your ads stay live. Deal with the guys that you got in there because you're going to have more than enough on for Monday and Tuesday. So let's say it's 57. I'll put my ad at 60. So I'll go above the competition because it's a recommended budget. If they knew what that meant, they wouldn't be putting it at 57. Some arbitrary, 57, that's where we need to be? Okay. It doesn't work that way.
Around the nose. Hey, 60. I mean, seriously, for the extra pennies of what it really is to your full recruiting budget, to be the one getting the first ones up all day long, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
All day. You raise it up on Sunday, drop it down on Tuesday, because that will keep it live to where the candidates can go back and refer to the ad, the ones that are coming to interview later in the week. But Wednesday, people are thinking about Thursday. Thursday, people are thinking about Friday. Friday, people are ready to go home.
This thing is something that every contractor should have. It's CompanyCam. It is the one piece of software every home service contractor should use to document their jobs. Every picture you ever take is associated to the address you took it. It's like Instagram for every project that you have. Give a link to the homeowner and share it to them while you're doing your inspection and win more sales. If you want to find out more about CompanyCam, check the description below. Save a few bucks by following our link.
When they see the ads, this is one of those things I'm just asking because I'm not knowledgeable. One of those things I want to know. When they see the ads, do they see the company or just the job?
They see the company.
So would they then, like, this would be me, I'd be, okay, that's the company. I'm going to go look at them, like their website and stuff like that. Do you give any advice to your clients on like, hey, this is maybe some of the things you should do on your website?
I check all the stuff before we start the campaign.
Smart.
So I'll go through their social media, Glassdoor. Well, because I had a guy that came to me from a referral. So let's say I didn't put the hardest vetting on him. So I'm like, hey, this guy's a buddy of my buddy. He knows how I roll. He knows who I deal with. I'm putting this campaign on, and we're 2 weeks into it, and people are getting set, but they're just not showing, which, I mean, if you call me and say, hey, I had a no-show today, I say, well, welcome to the roofing industry. Here's your first beer. Like, that's cute. You had a no-show. It's going to happen.
Right.
But this guy had a lot of them. So I started doing more research. I looked at his website and his reviews. Guy had 2 stars on Google. Reviews like, this guy's leaving garbage and flyers all throughout the neighborhood. There's nails in my lawn. I'm like, oh.
Hasn't updated his Facebook in 2 years. That type
So I
of
know that every candidate that's worth their salt is reading his reviews, and they're like, there ain't no way I'm going to this company. So that forced me to implement, whether they come from whoever, I go in and read what's online about them because this is what's going to help me recruit. If it's great, like let's say Tom Self, for instance, ProLiance, one of the most prolific company cultures I deal with. High energy.
Thank you. That's our guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Always high energy, challenging culture, unity, community stuff, reaching out, everything you can imagine in a company culture, he's got it. When I turn his ads on and people start going to his social media, piece of cake.
Yep.
It's done for me because they're like, I really want to work here. These guys are wearing face paint. They're at barbecues. They're helping out stuff in the neighborhood. They're on roofs. They're making
And the
money.
people answering the ads fit the mold, right? Like
100%.
yeah, it's so
100%.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So that's why we don't try to use blanket one-on-one ad writing. We want to know as much as you want to tell us about your company and the vision that you have, so we can portray that vision for you. Because we're a third-party recruiter. And
you know,
for the major companies,
you brought me so much joy today, Matt. You have no
I did?
idea. Like,
Good
yeah,
deal.
you have no. Well, first off, I have people ask me all the time, like, who would you use as a recruiter and stuff like that. And I always put your name. I'm like, man, so go over there. All I've heard is good things. Never heard a negative thing about him. But I never know who does, right? Like, I'm not sure they engaged with you, didn't engage with you. And then you tell me Pro Alliance today, which Tom is my longest running coaching client. I've been coaching him for almost 8 years now. So to hear that, and like, we didn't plan that or talk about that, but to hear you talk that glowingly about one of the people that we've coached, that you brought me a lot of joy today. I just want to say thank you.
And if anybody was to listen, that company listens for sure. Because I've been out to eat with Tom. I've been to his company meetings. You know, I really got involved with the recruiting because I was literally his sole recruiter for a long time.
Right.
When I met him, he was coming out of a breakup with another recruiter that had somebody come in for a canvassing job that came in on a walker with the tennis balls.
Not good.
A canvassing job. I said, man, I got to get out of this. I can't have this anymore. And it was actually a rep from Beacon that called me and said, hey, can you please come meet with this guy, Tom Self? And I did. And he told me the story about the walker. I said, yeah, I'll take your case right now. Let's do it. And I've been recruiting for Tom for 4 years.
That's awesome. And he is, man, that dude is a bundle of energy and joy, and just to be around him. He's
for sure, 100%.
Good guy. So if you're listening to this show and you're looking for a contractor to work for in Chicago, that might be your man.
Without a doubt.
What's that?
Without a doubt, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I didn't do this, I'd work for Tom in a heartbeat.
So on their website, I get that they should have good reviews and stuff. That's kind of, I think, pretty common. Is there anything specific or unique that they should have on their website that would help you with your job in the recruiting side of things?
Yeah. Most of the bigger companies do it. Photos of your community outreach. You're helping, like, let's see, Legacy. I'll just pick them. Legacy Roofing. They got 6 or 7 locations. Yeah. They're doing humanitarian and philanthropy stuff on a community level, a national level, and a world level.
Mm-hmm.
So when you work for this company, you make a lot of money if you work at Legacy. You got to be really good. It's definitely very competitive. And I mean, it's one of those companies, if you want to get after it and be successful, it's a good company to work for. But to have that kind of stuff, to see 80 people packing lunches for the homeless, or here's probably the most heartfelt thing that I know about Legacy. They've got a little club or whatever that knits blankets for orphans, right? These really special blankets. Some kid, as an orphan, got a blanket from their company and was out in Colorado 18, 20 years later. Saw a job for Legacy selling roofs, applied to Legacy, and he saw the picture of them making the blankets. He's like, hey, man, I still got this blanket.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
That's crazy, right? Yeah, so I mean, it's things like that to definitely put on your website. Yeah, your OC preferred, Certainty Shingle Master. Okay, you and who else? Put some stuff on there, some feel-good stuff. We sponsor a Little League team. This is what we do, stuff for veterans, That stuff's what's important because, I mean, other than that, what is it? You're just punching a clock. It's another job.
Show what life looks like, not just in the act of doing what we do, but in the benefit that what we do provides to everybody else around. Do you guys hang out together? Do you go to events? Do you support the community? What do you do? Do you run races and things like that? Like, what do you do? Put that on your website. Not
to bring up ProLiance again, but look at ProLiance social media anywhere. Anywhere, Instagram, Snap, whatever. Look at it anywhere, and you'll see that's the epitome of what it should look like. Because there's not a lot of working shots or, the certainty, no see stuff. that people don't even really know what it is yet. There's pictures and videos of people having fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this is a cool place to work and we make money. It's a super great recruiting tool because it's honest, it's transparent, it's not made up. I've been to some of his events and it's pretty high energy.
It is, Tom. There is no doubt about it.
Right.
Like it's authentic. And if you don't like high energy and you don't like getting after it and you don't like serving and helping your community, you're not going to be attracted to Tom.
Keep it moving. Yeah.
Yep. So, this has been awesome. First off, Matt, like,
thank you.
First, it was just been awesome to finally talk to you. Like we haven't had it. We've messaged a couple of times over the years, but never really like had a chance to talk with you and learn more about you. Where do you see recruiting going over the next, 5? Because you hear things, right? Like you hear a lot of this stuff in the industry, like, oh, woe is me. There's going to be all the big equity companies are going to come in and buy up. It's all just going to be big companies, and that's what's going to happen, which I think is, I'm going to use the word garbage. And the reason I'm going to use the word garbage is because Waste Management did something similar to this 30 years ago. And there's still thousands of garbage companies out there. Yep. And I have 2 of them in my neighborhood that aren't Waste Management. So let's not make everybody like super fearful. Now you will have to up your game. There will be large companies and things like that, but anybody that's good is going to be taken care of. There's no doubt about it. So what do you see changing in recruiting over the next 5 years, knowing those things?
Well, one of the biggest challenge in perspective that I think right now that is very skewed is that people are trying to save time, like through AI, chatbots, things like that. Recruiting is not for chatbots. Recruiting is to talk to another human being on the phone to ask questions about experiences. What's going to happen at this company here? Is there upward mobility? Is there this? Is there that? The people that still stay on the phone and engage with human beings are the people that are going to win, because 90% of people are going to do the opposite of what I do. They're going to try to automate every part of the process. Well, let's give them a DISC assessment, a sales dragon assessment, 3 other assessments. If they pass these assessments, then maybe we'll talk to them.
Right.
I'm getting on the phone because situations happen. Like a few years ago, I had a girl apply to a roofing sales job. I call her up. Her resume is mainly CNC, drill press, stuff like that. So I can see she's a get after it girl. She's not a pretty girl. She's not afraid to get dirty. So I can say, she'll probably climb a roof. No big deal. So I call her up. Turns out she's the fiance to one of the highest grossing salesmen in Illinois, the roofing salesman. Mm-hmm. I send this girl in for an interview. The sales manager, who I hired 2 years previously as a rep, tells me he doesn't want to interview the person because they don't want to just interview warm bodies. This is what AI will do to you. This is how it will kill you. So this girl's been watching The Money Made and listening to roofing stories every day from boyfriend for the past 3 years. He doesn't want her to work at the same company, obviously, for conflict reasons. So he says, hey, apply it over here. That just happens to be one of my clients. I shoot him in there, and that comes from automating the process. Right. Resumes are not always where it's at. Steve Jobs' resume, fired from his own company, quit college. He quit college and fired. Who's going to call that person? I'm calling him. Because I don't know what's going on. I don't
put a lot of credence in resumes. I think it's good to have them just to see like what kind of work history somebody has, but it's not what I'm going to rely on to decide if I'm going to hire somebody. I'm going to rely on some pretty well thought out questions that identify whether this person has the talent and skill that I need to do what we do. And if they have that talent thing, for me, there's motivation and drive, and they're very different things. Lots of people are motivated. They're to buy all the silver stuff and get rich quick schemes.
Right.
Drive is a whole different thing. And so whenever I'm asking questions, interviews and stuff like that, that's the one I'm honing in on. How much drive do you really have to do this thing? Or are you just saying you will? And you can do that with some pretty strong questions. There's a really good book out there. I'll give a little fire here.
Yeah.
There's a really great book out there. It's called The Perfect Sales Force. And it has the questions that you need to ask to pull out the talents of what makes a salesperson. And it is fantastic.
Perfect Sales Force?
It's called The Perfect Sales Force by Derek Gatehouse, Gatehouse. I was referred to that book. Funny enough, I got referred to that book whenever I resigned as the director of sales for AccuLinks. I would said I'd do my replacement. So I interview this guy. He's like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this book, Perfect Salesforce?" I'm like, "Nope." He goes, "You should probably read it. You hire like this." And so I went and read it. I went, "Dang it. I wish I knew what I was doing so I could have wrote that book." But yeah, there's 10 talents according to that book and the book is all about talent. I'd love to get with him and like write book 2 and say, "Hey, it's more than talent." But it's about these 10 talents that are salesperson oriented talents and how to identify them, ask questions to pull them out without the interviewee knowing what it is that you're aiming for. Cause like the worst question you ever ask somebody, "Are you a hard worker?" Yeah, of course I am. Like nobody says, "No, man, I'm not. I work like 10 hours a week. That's all I work." Nobody does that. So how to ask questions that actually pulls the talent out, right? Now, the one other thing I think that book misses is the skills, because I'll give an example. I'm looking for specific skills from a salesperson, and skills to me are things you can learn. Talent are things that are inborn. They're just who you are, right? But skill is something anybody can learn. I can teach somebody a presentation or a door knocking script. I mean, like that. I can teach that to them fast, really quickly. Usually like a door knocking script and all that good stuff, and actually making appointments within about a half a day, and a great presentation closing deals within 3 days. So that's a fast thing to teach. That skill, if they don't lack it, I'm all good as long as they've got the talent because I can teach them. If they lack the skill of communication, though, I can't hire them. That takes too long. It's going to take months. I can teach it to them, but it's months of learning how to communicate. So it tells me immediately I can't hire that person. Even though their talents are right, I can't hire that person because their communication is not where it needs to be. And so hiring to me has become a little bit more science than just gut instinct. And man, it has made a huge difference. I think you'll like that book. I think
I'll have that book by the end of the week.
Yeah, I think you're going to enjoy it.
I'm going on Amazon. Another one my wife uses is really slick. She's a great recruiter too. She's like, "What's got you looking around?"
Yes, that's a good one.
You, it's so casual and so innocuous. And the next 5 minutes, she's silent. They're just, "Oh, I'm having a baby. This company is moving here. I don't want to go here. They keep making me false." She gets everything. One question. "Yeah, what's got you looking around?" Just nice and innocent.
That's a great question.
Man, she's great with it.
Oh, here I am interrupting you again, but this is an important message you do not want to miss because it's about AI. AI in sales. Could you imagine having every sales call recorded, analyzed, tell you what's winning, share it with everybody else so they can start winning? Everybody's closing percentages go through the roof. If you haven't heard of Rilla Voice, you need to. Go check out Rilla today in the comments below.
The small talk is very important. And I think before we close, I definitely want to tell people, when you're using Indeed, be careful of the end date that you set. When you set a job for a recommended budget, it will give you the option to set an end date. Always check set an end date, because what will happen if I put this job up for 1 month and it's at 57 a day, that algorithm will continue to let that money run as if it was running the whole month, whether it does or not. So we'll take that amount of money and times it by a month, and it will allow it to keep running. Just take the end dates and shorten them up. Sunday, Tuesday, Tuesday, back to Sunday, Sunday, Tuesday, Tuesday, back to Sunday. It's very simple, and will cut, I promise you, it will cut your recruiting cost in half immediately.
Wow. That is, dude, yeah, you brought some fire today, man.
Well, I wanted to bring some actual real life. I don't like to bring a lot of fluff. I've taught some recruiting workshops in Chicago and some other companies, and the greatest compliment, they're like, "Dude, this was all killer and no filler." There was no, people don't realize how
it's stuff these guys can actually use on their own and not have to hire you. Now, the reason they would hire you is because I don't want to mess with that, right? Like I'm just too busy doing all the other stuff that I want to expert.
I've had the same companies that I've taught workshops for hire me the next month.
Yeah.
Call me and say, "Hey, Matt, can we get a campaign?" I'm like, "Dude, I just gave you the whole game." They're like, "Yeah, we don't want to do it."
Well,
we don't care. We don't
There's
want to
a
do
lot
it.
of value in doing and knowing what you're great at. I'm great at this coaching thing. I'm not great
For
at
sure.
running ads. So I find an expert and I have that person do that thing. I'm not great at the finances and stuff like that. Thank you, God. My wife is amazing. She does all that stuff, but she's the boss here. I'm just a coach. That's all, and a radio personality, I guess, a podcast personality.
For
But
sure.
that's about it. And I'm good with it. I want to let other people that are experts, yeah, it might cost me something, but now I have my time back. And how valuable is that? Especially whenever I get to do what it is I do great. So, man, that's really good stuff, Matt.
Thank you.
Really good. How do people get a hold of you? It's Pivotal Recruiting Solutions. They find you on Facebook,
Yeah,
website.
you can find us on Google. There's also a website, workwithpivotal.com.
Workwithpivotal.com. Okay, I will get that on the show notes. Anything else you want to share with these guys before we let them go?
If you're doing group interviews, please stop.
Boy, you nailed something there, and I want to ask about that. Okay, the show continues. Why?
You're missing a lot of talent that way, and you're de-individualizing people when you do that. Now, if you do it up front and it's transparent, we're having a hiring event, maybe that's not so much a group interview. And you're saying you're going to be coming to the company with a lot of other people and look around, and we're going to show you what we do and see if you're interested, and that's it. That's okay. To falsely act like you're interested in someone's resume and their transferable skills to come apply at your company, and then to have them sit in a room with 20 other people, they realize they've been bait and switched.
Yeah, that's
You're
how
not
I got
saving
hired.
time.
The reason I asked is because that's how I got hired. I thought I was coming in for an interview, and there was 9 other guys sitting there. And I went, what is going on? And I instantly hated it. I was like, whoa, I want out. I feel like used car sales or some kind of multi-level marketing
Exactly.
or maybe something worse, right? Thankfully, the first guy was so ridiculous. It was like watching a train wreck, so I couldn't leave. I was like, okay, just whenever he gets done, I gotta go.
I can beat this guy.
He came out with a purple suit, orange shirt, purple tie, fake blonde hair, and a Rick Hamilton tan. And I'm like, okay, I don't want anything to do with this company. I don't even care what this guy says. And it was ridiculous. And then the next guy comes out, and he was the roofing guy. He was the one that got me. He was the one that told me the truth. He was the one that says, this is what this job is. I went, why didn't you just start there? Right? Like, why didn't you start with that? I didn't need all this other stuff. And you didn't have to trick me into coming in here. Man, that's really good, because I actually believe group interviews can be done right.
They can.
But you have
absolutely
got to be transparent about hey, look, we've got a job fair, or we've got an introduction to the job that we're going to have a group of people on. And that way, if you like it, you can continue on with the interview. But if you don't, you're not wasting your time.
That's a perfect scenario. It's
Right.
transparent. It's honest. I'm not feeling all special going to the interview. Like, yeah, they like my resume. They know what's up. And they go there and you're like, man, what?
Right.
It's no good. That people, I think, like you said, if it's framed as a hiring event or a job fair, it's perfect. But if you're on the phone, doing what I do, if clients ask me to do it, I just won't do it. And they ask me why, I explain to them. I said, it's going to be a waste of time. I'm not going to do it.
Whatever you say better be real. For example, if you say, hey, look, we are going to bring you in this group. We're going to show you the opportunity here, a little bit about our company, understand something about our culture, get what it is that what you're going to be doing so that you can make a good, solid decision. But also, I'm only going to be hiring 3 of you, the 3 best.
Yes.
You can't then hire and they show up and there's 7 of them there. It has to be 3. It's got to be the number or less, right? Like, I'm shooting. You were and one other person were the only ones good enough to work here. You can't, and I see so much that, like, hey, we're only going to hire so many, and then sure enough, there's like 9 new people there, and you said there was going to be 2.
Perfect scenario is great ad, good recruiter, gets them excited, vets them out, sends them in for the first interview, not over the internet, not online, in person. There's a lot of things you can't see when you're just on the screen.
Yeah.
Full dress, body posture, language, so there's so much. And why do we need another barrier to entry? Why?
Yeah.
Because, our company's so special that we don't really have
You've
time.
already handled that part for me. You've already handled that part.
Exactly. I'll have companies that will try to do another 3 or 4 steps beyond what I do. And I call them and say, look, dude, here's what you're paying me for. This is already done. If you like this person, then hire them. If they don't work out, do a performance review and get rid of them, because I'll have 15 more coming in right behind them. This is how the process works.
See, that's the other thing I think people, I'm sorry I held you longer, but
no worries.
You said something that just triggered me. Most owners and sales managers, when I come in contact with them the first time, they seem almost desperate. It feels like their sales team sometimes like runs the business and is very like, I have to coddle them and take care of them, or they're going to leave, and they sell a lot of dollars. You just told me, like, dude, I got another one coming right behind him. Now, is that true?
The best scenario is when you're a roofing company and you've got a 1 o'clock, and then you've got a 1:30 sitting there waiting when the 1 o'clock walks out.
Yep.
And it's also good for the existing sales force, the lead babies and what have you, that see people in there interviewing for a sales job. They don't know what's happening. Hey, are they replacing me? Yeah, you're sitting around here. You're sitting in the office waiting on a lead. Yeah, we're replacing you. This roof on the office is already bought and sold. The customers are that way. They're out there.
Whenever I own my roofing company, which I don't anymore because I think that's a conflict of interest to own a company and do coaching. I just don't think those two go together. Everybody knew they were on the varsity, the JV, or the freshman team. They knew. They like, hey, that's the deal. You're a varsity, JV, freshman. You're on a freshman team. Your job is to get to JV. JV, your job is to get to varsity. If you're on that freshman team very long, you see me interviewing people and you haven't made it to JV, you're not making the team, you're getting cut. And everybody knew it. So when they would see interviews, you could see some sweat out there.
Yeah,
but that was our culture. But that was our culture, highly competitive. I wanted the best. If I said I was going to hire the 3 best, I hired the 3 best. I didn't hire all 10. I'm glad you brought that up. That group interview thing is hard to execute and execute well. And if you do it, you better not be deceptive.
That's it. And I mean, if it's done right, I'm a super fan of it. Yeah, but if it works for your company, going out bowling, having some pizza, it's a big community thing. Everybody's out there. These are the guys. Here's what we do. That's cool. I've seen companies do that.
Yeah, come hang out with us.
Just keep it honest, man. Keep it honest. I mean, the short.
I think that might be the title of this podcast. Keep it honest in recruiting.
Keep it honest, man. I mean, how else do you get what you want? I mean, when I'm ordering food or something, I don't order. I want something kind of crunchy, kind of cheesy. I'm not really sure. Just and be honest. This I want that right there. I don't want that. This is what I want. It's the fastest way to get it.
Nothing drives me more nuts. Hey, what do you want for dessert? I don't know.
I don't know. Right? Something not dairy. I don't know. I've found it's the fastest way to do business, the fastest way to recruit, the fastest way to resolve conflict is be honest. If we did something wrong on our side as a recruiting company, everyone will tell you. I'll be the first one to admit it. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you what, you better have your ducks in a row if you come after me, because we're very thorough, and our company is full of autonomous, motivated adults that like to work by themselves and be left alone and do a good job. So that's the environment that I've created for them. They're autonomous. They know what's expected of them and what they need to do, and they do it. It's great.
That is cool. Hey, Matt, we gotta cut off. I want to talk to you now for another hour. Like we can talk about a lot of fun stuff on recruiting. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for the practical, useful information that you shared. I think that brings as much value as anything else in our conversations here. Thank you for being transparent and honest.
For sure.
Thank you for doing such a great job in this industry, so much so that people are referring you. And just thank you for taking the time to be with me today. I appreciate it.
100%. I loved it. I'm definitely honored to be here and to watch my company grow from a little tiny company at my kitchen table all the way up to where I'm at now. We recruit for Fortune 500 companies at this point now.
That is awesome, man. That's so cool to hear. Yeah, this is our 10th year. Like right now, what is today? Yeah, today's the day. Today is our 10th year. I didn't even put a post out about her.
Happy anniversary, dude.
You would think you would do that, right? Like, but this
Absolutely.
is our 10th anniversary, August 1st.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, and it was just one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm just going to coach a couple of companies, go golf and fish in the afternoon. That's going to kind of be the gig. And then the word got out that it went really, really well. And it's kind of like you. It's just, hey, people kept coming, people kept coming.
Awesome.
So, hey, good to see you doing well. Thank you for being on the show. And we'll probably see you soon or in the future.
You'll see me on Facebook or somewhere, I promise you.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, bud. Thank you.
Have a good one. All right, everybody. That was Matt Snow with Pivotal Recruiting Solutions. I've watched this guy for years. I haven't had anybody ever say anything bad about that guy. This is a hard industry to please contractors. He seems to be pretty honest and transparent. Like, hey, you better have your ducks in a row coming to get involved with this. So make sure that if you check him out, you're ready to go. Make sure that you've got the things that you need. And if you don't, talk to us. We can help you out, or Matt can help you out to make sure that you make the most of the money that you're about to invest in your hiring strategy, because that's the thing. You're investing money into your marketing. You want to close deals and have the highest ROI possible. If you have questions about that or anything that we do here at Contractor Coach Pro, and you're thinking about growing your business, you want to get better at your leadership so you can grow that business and achieve some personal and financial freedom, click on the link below that says assessment. Take that assessment. We'll do a free coaching call with you. Won't cost you a dime. We will give you 2 or 3 things, just like Matt did today, 2 or 3 things that are practical that you could do right now to move your business forward in the direction that you want it to achieve those dreams that you know you're capable of. If you like coaching and want to work with us, great. If you don't, that's okay too. At least we served you well. We serve this industry well. Thanks for hanging out on our show today. We'll see you next time here at Contractor Radio.
Oh, you're still here? Well, you must have thought it was great. Make sure to like and subscribe to Contractor Radio and never miss an episode, because we're here to help you get better at what you do.